Over the course of 18 years, my extended family and I immigrated to the United States of America. We all had our own reasons for coming over, but my parents came to America because they wanted their children to be able to receive an American education and have a life full of opportunities. My mother's father, who I referred to as Nanabu, meaning grandfather, came to the United States in 1986. In Pakistan, where he had left behind a wife and 11 children, he was a businessman responsible for maintaining exports for a family company of sporting goods. He came to the U.S. in regards of some business opportunities. A couple of years later, 3 of his sons traveled to England and Holland to study. Another went to Japan. My grandfather didn't want to scatter his family all across the globe, so as soon as possible, he sponsored them to come to the U.S. and live with him. They all settled near Baltimore. By 1994, my grandmother found it too difficult to have her family divided and urged my grandfather to sponsor the rest of his family to the United States of America. When he did that, my mother's application had to go through a different procedure because she was already married and had a family of her own. In 1998, my grandmother and my remaining aunts and uncles left Lahore International Airport and headed off to America. My family, however, continued to wait for our turn. And it might have come if it wasn't for the attack on 9/11. Our application was further delayed, and it wasn't until late 2003 that we saw some hope of leaving Pakistan. My mother was a teacher at the time, and my father handled a business with my uncle. We lived in the city of Lahore, a city filled with the rich culture and colors of the state of Punjab. We would always receive photographs and birthday presents from our aunts and uncles in America, telling us how much they missed us. I remember I would always get so excited and couldn't wait for the day I would get to see them again. My grandparents from my dad's side, and most of my aunts and uncles, who lived in a small town a couple of hours away, owned farms and serene plantations. Therefore, it was especially difficult to say goodbye to them. In December of 2003, my family was asked to travel to the capital in Islamabad and visit the American embassy. There, we got our visas finalized and were legally ready to travel. Our tickets were purchased, seats booked, baggage packed, and we left life as we knew it to immigrate to a country we had never seen before. On Wednesday, February 11th, 2004, I stepped out of O'Hare International Airport. By this time, my grandparents had moved to the suburb of Roseville, near Chicago, and for the first 2 months, we lived with them. By April, we had moved to Skokie, my parents had found jobs, and my siblings and I began to attend school. Our first few months were especially difficult. My parents had to deal with finding jobs, reevaluating their college degrees from Pakistan, and getting their driver's license. But luckily, we had the support of a lot of our family members. For me, the hardest part was saying goodbye to my friends, learning a new language, and trying to fit in. But over time, everything gets easier. And the same happened to us. It took me 2 years to learn English, and part of it was because I lived in a very diverse and accepting community. I made lots of friends, and was glad that we had moved to the United States. I still miss my old friends, and all of my cousins who I left behind. I make sure I tell them that every time I talk to them. I was lucky enough to get a chance to travel back home 2 summers ago and meet all of my family again. When I got back from Pakistan, I was able to realize what my parents sacrificed to get me and my siblings to America. My mother had a well-paid job as an assistant principal. My father left my great-grandpa's legacy and came here so that we could get a shot at an amazing education. This was the same reason why we left so much of our family. But I have family here too, and friends. And there's nothing in this world that could top that.